Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, blogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments, vlogs such as
5 Minutes with the G,
The Straight Shooting View,
Coaching with JBK,
audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Podomatic, Spotify,
Mixcloud
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and our official website www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat,
the pitch is where we sleep,
and the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now. I can see you now and then. I can see you now.
Welcome to
Coaching with JBK. Welcome. It's yours truly, JBK, with your roundup. It's a late roundup. It's a Sir Alex Ferguson type roundup. Yeah, that late. For those of you who know who Sir Alex is, yep, it's that late. So yeah, listen, I'm going to put that to the side. All jokes aside, this is the WSL and, ironically, the Championship roundup coming up. Okay, so yes, we are going to go straight into the two games that will be more important over the next few days. Why? Because these two teams do not play until next week, Wednesday, in a Champions League game. Or next week, Wednesday, and next week, Thursday. Now, that's a big thing as well. That's a massive thing. So, we're going to start off with those two games. Starting off with Manchester United versus Arsenal. Two games, and this one I actually watched. Very good game to watch as well. Arsenal did have problems in this game. It wasn't all their own way, but they did manage to control and stem the tide with matches that they were just basically going. It weren't that they were going through the motions, but they had to work a little bit harder than they had have done in other matches. Besides the Spurs game, in my opinion, most of their games have been a bit more easy towards the second half. But the reason behind that is probably because of the quality and talent that Arsenal have. Manchester United's having to hold on for a bit in certain areas. They did have shots on target, and it was difficult because it wasn't, well, I say one shot, it says one shot on target. I think they had a few more than that, but the one that counts is the one that they're looking at. Going forward, it was Manchester United 0, Arsenal 2, with both of the goals coming in the first 6 minutes of the second half. As you go, you kind of go with the understanding that this is really going well. First 10 minutes of the second half, by the way. It's not easy, and it's one of those games where you just kind of go through the motions. Vivian Miedemar getting a goal, and I do feel that the Sun, when Mary Earps was making the save or trying to make the save, there were two players in front of Vivian Miedemar when she struck it. Two Manchester United players. She managed to use them as a shield to get the ball into the opposite corner. So she's going towards her right, managing to strike the ball low into the left corner, which is good. At the same time, I do feel that the Sun played its part because it's not easy just to try and look at the ball. As a former goalkeeper myself, or a former player who's played in goal, if you've got the sun in your eyes and you've got some sort of weather type that's playing havoc to your vision, you're not going to be able to see the ball as clear. But well done to Vivian Miedemar. I'm not going to take away the goal that she scored. In the second half, we also had Katie McCabe scoring from a penalty, which she won. Interesting win that she got it from. It was a cross coming from the right, and as she's gone to strike the ball, where she's put her foot towards the ball, it's just been taken out. It's just been taken out. Eventually, she got up and rounded off the scoring, basically with another half an hour to go. But well done to Arsenal. And we move on. And the reason why we move on is because we move on to the big Chelsea game, which everybody knows is going to be interesting going forward. So this game was Chelsea 5, Birmingham City 0. Now, Birmingham City did make it a little bit more difficult in the second half. First half, they didn't really get started. They didn't really get going. And the first goal that they conceded was in the first 5 minutes of the game. Frank Kirby with the first of 2 goals. Sam Kerr then getting a goal on the 18th minute with another one on the 29th and one before half time. And then you kind of settle down, and then that's where the floodgates could have opened a little bit more. But I feel that Chelsea and Birmingham City rose their effort levels. And not only rose their effort levels, but also tried to make sure that it was a bit more difficult for Chelsea to score. And then you get Frank Kirby scoring her next goal with 15 minutes to go, which also means that it shows that within the second half, the performance for Birmingham City was a lot better than the first. Not just because of the goals, but also because of the way that they probably handled the game going into the second half, the way that they managed the game. They didn't want to concede 6-7-0. So, you know what, let's keep it as low as possible. And if we concede another goal, we concede another goal. The reason why I'm going over with those 2 results is because the FA Cup final is coming soon. And the reason for this is it's going to be a massive game, not just for Arsenal, not just for Chelsea, but also for the WSL as an era. So now that we're moving into the TV era, I would like to call it the next alignment of women's football, moving into the TV and exposure era of football. We're now starting to see things that we probably need to see, and maybe the trophies that we want to see going out to maybe Chelsea. Chelsea basically need to win this in order to complete a treble or quadruple, one of the 2. I think it's a treble from last season. Once they've done that, so it's a treble because they didn't win the Champions League. However, that's besides the point. They can still win the treble with this trophy. So they've already won the Conte Cup. They've already won the Premier League, the Super League. Sorry, let me get that right. The Super League, and on top of that, they've also got the FA Cup to go for, which comes on the 5th of December at Wembley, where a lot of tickets have been sold. And if you still want to get your tickets, by all means, do so. I will be there. I will be making sure that I sit down and I watch with intrepidation, not just as an Arsenal fan, but also as a fan of women's football. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how these teams play out. Also, as a coach, from my perspective, it'll be interesting to see how both teams line up. Will they go for it, or will they sit back and hope that somebody makes a mistake? So, looking at this, Chelsea have scored quite a few goals in the last month or so. That's a concern for Arsenal. They haven't scored as many, and most of the goals have come in the second half this month specifically. Now, as a Chelsea fan, I am definitely looking forward to this, if that's the case. As an Arsenal fan, I'd be slightly worried, because it may mean that we're going in as second favourites again for the second time in a row against Chelsea. In September, when we had our first game against Chelsea, which was the league match, nobody expected Arsenal to win. Nobody did. And we came out with a 3-2 win. Now, that's saying something, but now we have to move it to the next level, which is, can we start this season and start this new era with a trophy? Yes, it's from a team that's won everything. That's fine. However, this is a new era. That team has already, all of the players that were in that team that won the Women's Champions League have practically left. And this new set and core of players now shows a different dynamic to the one that was there for a semi-pro level to the one that's here now from a professional level. That's another thing. So a lot will be taken into consideration. Hopefully, we'll see what the era starts to look like. And there is interesting developments going forward with other teams. And I'll speak about that in another vlog, which will also come from myself today. Moving on. The game that happened on the Saturday, the 20th of November, Manchester City 5. That's it, 5. Aston Villa 0. Interesting game, this one, because I generally thought that Aston Villa would try to exploit Manchester City's weaknesses, which means, in my opinion, they probably sat back a little bit too much and probably gave a lot of respect to Manchester City. However, you do. You don't turn up to Manchester City and think that you're going to win all the time. You don't. It's a team that's grown together as a squad, has always been in and around the top 3 since they won the league. And this season has been a bit more of a downturn just simply because a lot of their first team staff have basically been out injured. It's literally just one after another have dropped. But there's been a shining light in these, and they got a win against Leicester City a couple weeks back, and now they've got another win again this week, or last Saturday, I should say. So their first goal was in the second half, Caroline Weir. Then 3 minutes later was Georgia Stanway, with a big, massive 20 minutes between 20 to almost 30 minutes between the next goals. Hayley Russo, Lauren Hemp getting a goal the next minute over, and then Hayley Russo with a goal 3 minutes after Lauren Hemp's. Hemp has really shone a light in the way that she's played this season, and has been gifted with that through England performances as well. Been on the pitch for England, and it's just going to show. It's going to be really a big buzz for a team like Manchester City to have Lauren Hemp always there, Georgia Stanway always there, and making sure that they just never lose sight of what's going on at the club. Going forward, we move on to our next game. And that is Leicester City 0, Everton 1. Big game this was, because Leicester City probably needed the win from this game and didn't get it. So they needed to find out if they could actually play at a top level. And I would have earmarked this one specifically the fact that Everton had a poor start to the season. I would earmark this one as Leicester City had a chance to at least get a draw from this, but didn't. 9 minutes to go. Simone McGill basically got a goal in the final 9 minutes of the game, and it's tough because what that means is Leicester still have no points in the WSL. Everton have got another 3 points on the board, which has made them a lot more further away from a team like Leicester. And it means that now Leicester are probably just working towards survival rather than can we climb the table. That's the interesting point. So going forward, well done, Everton. Leicester, you've got a lot of work to do going into the second half of the season. We move on. Reading versus Brighton. Brighton have had a very good start to the season, being pretty much near the top 4 all season. But this game has derailed their start a little bit. The middle towards their season has now shone a light, and they've conceded goals basically at the start and end of the game, which is tough to take because then you're basically on the back foot for the rest of the game. But they did have a lot of possession. They did try to create chances. They had more shots than Reading. And in the 3rd minute, Natasha Dowie got her goal, and Emily Harries got hers in the 86th minute. It's tough, but those are the goals that you concede. If you concede those 2 goals and you don't put any away, you lose the game. Not to be so condescending or trying to bring in a different flavour to this, but as a coach, it's tough to analyse a good performance when most of the chances that you had haven't gone in, and the only two goals that they've scored are from the 2 shots that they pretty much had on target. It's tough. So when you're controlling the game but you haven't scored, it's great to see that it's going well, but in a position where points are needed, not just wanted, you know what you need. You need to get those goals as much as possible. Hopefully they start converting chances in the second half of the season. They've still got a couple of games to go before the end of the 2021 part of the season. Going forward, we have one more game before we switch our attentions to the Women's Championship. West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Interesting game, this derby, for two reasons. I think something was mentioned by Rhian Skinner, the Tottenham coach, about being a bit more compact and being strong and not allowing the opposition to score. And let's just say that the opposition went ahead and scored their goal in the 69th minute. Brenna Stottir, she got the only goal of the game, and it was interesting because at the end of it, you'll find this on Twitter. Apparently, somehow, they found out not even somehow, they found out that Rhian Skinner has said what she said and then replied, all the points are staying in East London. That's pretty much what it was. And it was just, you call it banter between clubs. I'm just hoping it stays that way. But it'll be interesting for the return game going forward, how this is managed. That's what I'm going to say to that. How this is managed is going to be interesting. Moving forward to the one division that I've never really spoken about until now. We're going to do that. So the first game of the weekend was Sunderland 1, Liverpool 3. Liverpool getting another win this weekend, and it was a big weekend of results because I believe everybody won this weekend. There wasn't just one game that didn't have a winner, essentially, and that's a good thing for the Women's Championship as well as the women's game. Going forward, Sheffield United 1, Lewis Women 3, or Lewis FC, I'm going to say. Good win for Lewis, climbing the table a little bit more, keeping away from the bottom half of the table as best as possible, still making their moves towards the middle, and hopefully will climb towards the top, making sure that they probably give themselves a good chance to maybe probably have a chance to finish maybe third, fourth, you never know. Coventry United against Durham. Coventry United got the win, a 1-0 win against Durham FC, which means that they are lifted off the bottom of the table with a win against Durham FC, who were second loss in a week for Durham. Hopefully this doesn't derail their momentum and they can find themselves back on the trail as the championship resumes. Charlton Athletic 2, London City Lionesses 0. This is another one that comes straight out of South East London. Both teams putting the battles in, and Charlton running out 2-0 winners. Blackburn Rovers 1, Crystal Palace 2. What a game this was. Blackburn with a good start, and then Crystal Palace rounding it out with a 2-1 win. And then finally we get to Watford against Bristol City. Watford losing another game this season. Hopefully they'll be able to turn it around in the second half of the season. But it's another loss, and it really does hinder their progression in the championship. Bristol City running out 3-0 winners. The team that got relegated from the WSL beating a team that managed to make it up from the Premier Division of football. All right. So those are the roundups. This weekend we have the FA Cup coming, and it's not the final. It's this season's FA Cup coming round. Last season's FA Cup final is literally one whole weekend away. It's going to be a massive game, and a massive game I believe they're going to have to. A lot of teams are going to be intrigued to find out the result of. So whether Arsenal do it, whether Chelsea do it, doesn't matter. For now, this weekend, go and support a team if you can. There's so many games to be watched. You never know. You might enjoy it. You might enjoy it. Have a check on how many games you can go and watch, and not just think about which game can I go. If you're close by to Plymouth, go to theirs, St Austell at 1 p.m. If you're close by to Chichester, Bridgewater United is one of their games. If you're close to Kent, Actonians will be running through the season. Okay, they'll be coming through. If you're anywhere up, going a bit higher and a bit up north, now we talk Long Eaton against Neverton United, West Bromwich Albion against Lincoln United, Fard against Burnley, Hull City against Liverpool Feds, Chorley against Bradford City, Salford City Lionesses against Newcastle United, and you never know, you might even enjoy yourself in Eastleigh as well against Exeter City. You might find yourself down at Wolverhampton Wanderers against Nottingham Forest. What a game that would be. If you can get yourself to any of these games, by all means do so. There are other games. Have a check online. I guarantee you will enjoy it. But for now, I'm going to sign off. Yours truly has spoken. Peace out. Peace.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution.
Check out the official Pitch Talk website.
www.pitch-talk.com